Welcome back in, guys. We're excited to get another episode going here on Yoders Talk. This episode today is going to be brought to you by Farmhouse Coffee. We are thankful that for their sponsorship. They make some amazing coffee. Guys, check them out. You can go to their Facebook page, local coffee trailer from around here. So, man, today we have a super exciting episode. We're going to go on back into some more on Africa. Got some great guests that were with us over there. So, Cory, you ready to get this thing going?
Man, I'm fired up.
Let's do this, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Yoders Talk.
And it was 100% something that I think we're going to hopefully get to do it again, and it'd be an awesome thing. I know I'm like I told Kip the other day. He was like, I think you're asking me when do you want to go back, and I was like, man, you tell me when to be on the plane. I'm on the plane.
They still practice today child sacrifice to this demon in one of the rivers called from the Rwenzori Mountains that flows out, and they still sacrifice children today.
A business is like a bicycle, and a business with a purpose is like a bicycle with handlebars. A business without purpose is a bicycle without handlebars. And bicycle without handlebars, how that is going to end up is going to be all over the road.
Yeah.
And a business that has purpose, there's more of a drive, there's more of a vision behind where you want to go with your employees, and I feel like there's just more of a connection with everyone around you.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back into the channel. As always, your host here, Clinton Yoder. We are super excited to kick another episode off today. Mr. Cory, my co-host here beside me, and we got some very good, exciting episode. We did, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we released one on Africa, and we are going to now do a second round on our trip over to Africa. But today we got a very special guest here with us, Mr. Kip Potter from ONE30 Network. He was actually over there with us. We also have Conrad Chavarria. He was with us as well over there. And so, yeah, man, Kip, I'm excited to have you on today, brother. I appreciate you being willing to spend some time with us.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
great.
Conrad, thank you for spending some time. I know you've been on here a few times, and you do a lot of work behind the scenes, so we appreciate you. We
It's
really
good to
do.
be back on again.
Yep. So, Cory, you ready to get this thing kicked off, man?
Man, I am ready to go. Anytime I get to spend some time with these guys, I'm fired up for it. I guess jumping in, just give Kip, if you'll give just some background on the ONE30 Network, how it started, what's your vision of it, and how it kind of took off.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, I had been working in overseas mission for a bit, but about 5 years ago, I really felt like that this is going to be the rest of my life is going overseas and helping these kids. I didn't know what that meant or how in depth that would be, but I was at one of our orphanages in a little town called Kinyamaseki in Uganda, and one of our little children, we were helping them out, but they were still in very desperate need. And one of our little kids, she was about a year old, and she had this ragged little brown shirt. I'll never forget, little ragged brown shirt with no pants and definitely no underwear. And I just picked her up. She was just standing there looking at me, and I just picked her up, and I just realized, it was just like God speaking into my life, and God saying, you dream over your kids. You look over their future, you look over their lives, and you think about them, and you plan for them. And he said, nobody is dreaming over this little girl. Nobody's thinking about her. And I just knew right then that we needed more support than what my local church could do. And so my wife and I began starting this network of churches, of businesses, of child sponsors, and together we saw that we could do something very important for the lives of these kids. And now somebody is dreaming over this kid, and somebody is thinking about her and praying for her, and supporting her. And, it all started with her.
We seen that over there while we were there, man. It was, you can see your heart and for the ministry that you feel like you're called to, and I just want to say thank you, because what we seen over there is so many needs, and there's no way that one organization can do it all, but that's not the point. You do what God asks you to do. Yeah. And it's been it was such a good time over there, seeing everything that's already been accomplished, but there's so much more work that needs to be done. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun. It really was.
Oh, it's I've kind of joked with people they'll ask me once I've come back, and like, are you happy to be back? And I'm like, no, not really. I'm kind of I love it so much that I can't wait to be back over there, and so I've definitely left my heart over there. That I think the dreaming over the kids is so it's just vital for those kids. Yes, there is financial needs there, but the spiritual needs of those kids, I think, there's such a huge gap there. I know my family found a child, and it's been awesome to see not only me and my wife, but my oldest son, who shares the same name with him, this kid, as he's sitting down in his prayers at night, praying for him as well. And so it's really a cool thing, and I appreciate the opportunity to have that experience.
Amen. What ONE30 is the reason we were able to even, to going with Micah and everything. Micah was on the podcast back last fall, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And so, having Micah on and seeing him go over, then going over and visiting him and seeing the absolute love and joy that he has for being over there and being a service to them people is unreal. It fires me up to, be able to, support, God has called us to run a business, right? And, we are able to support, and businesses from America are able to support people over there doing these things. And when we went over there, the reason we went over there was kind of for a business conference. And you ask, why would we go to Africa for a business conference? But I know, Kip, you've said it before, and you've talked about this, that businesses need to get involved.
Yeah.
Businesses are the ones that need to get involved. And you see this video right here. This was at the business conference that we put on. There was a lot of people from Uganda that came out there to this conference. They're business owners that didn't have any idea about business and about how business should be done, and being able to speak to them and see how they just crave any kind of teaching that you can give them. Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned it several times, Kip, where you want to see not only businesses from America helping, but you want to see Ugandans change Uganda.
Yeah, it's just, sustainable businesses are just, I feel like the next wave of support for these impoverished nations. I feel like the old adage, you can buy someone a fish, or you can, buy them a rod, teach them to fish, mm-hmm. And that does much more. These kids are just starting out their life. Mm-hmm. They don't know about what generations before them have thought about and have longed for. All they know is what they see in front of them. Mm-hmm. And so if we can get some great business men, great business women, entrepreneurs, I feel like that's more important than me getting a preacher to
Mm-hmm.
the mission field.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I can get you guys to the mission field, great leaders, great forward thinkers in business, that's the culture that need to be changed, so that these kids can stay inside their home. Mm-hmm. Their dad can work and feel like he's worth something,
mm-hmm.
and that's going to change the life of the family.
Yes.
And that's our heart, is not to get these kids some food. Our heart is to change the culture so that these families can make it.
Mm-hmm.
They can make it in their homes, mm-hmm. and not have a need for these huge orphanages.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed too, and I think y'all, Cory, you spoke at that conference as well.
Yep.
One thing I noticed about how receptive they are to that kind of teaching. And, I wasn't sure how when I went over there, of course, I'd never been to Africa, never been to any country in Africa. And I didn't know how they would they take teaching from America. But, what we taught on was, I think I spoke on like just servant leadership, having a servant heart in your business and leading from your heart. I think Lyndon,
yeah.
What was Lyndon spoke on? I'll let you talk on that a little bit, Conrad.
Yes, Lyndon, he spoke on the purpose of your business and behind your business, and you could tell each individual in that room was extremely engaged, and it's a perspective that they haven't heard before. And he spoke on a lot how one of our slogans is to lead with a purpose, and how important a purpose is in your business to connect with your employees, to connect with your clients, and to connect with God.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of good talking points, and one of the analogies he used that it actually kind of clicked with me, and it was very good. A business is like a bicycle, and a business with a purpose is like a bicycle with handlebars. A business without purpose is a bicycle without handlebars. And a bicycle without handlebars, how that is going to end up is going to be all over the road.
Yeah.
And a business that has purpose, there's more of a drive, there's more of a vision behind where you want to go with your employees, and I feel like there's just more of a connection with everyone around you.
Yeah.
And that's the one takeaway while I was speaking is, seeing the people be engaged, like they had notebooks, they were writing stuff down, and like that was the first thing that like took me back. I gave a talk about trust, and how trust, basically business moves at the speed of trust, and so the more trust you build in your business, the further your business is going to go. And then finally wrapped it up with how we need to put our trust in God in our business, that He's the ultimate decider. And so that was my first takeaway. Is I'm sitting there as I'm giving my talk, and I had a little with the interpreter. That was my first time working with the interpreter, and I didn't really think about a phrase, but that was the thing that I kept going to, is like, wow, this is working. Like what I'm talking about is making an impact, because there were several people just jotting down notes and thoughts, and then Stephen, our good friend Stephen, wrapped it all up. And what's so funny about that conference is he did, like, none of us really talked about what we were all going to talk about, but he pretty much took our three, wrapped it up, and put a nice little bow on it, and talked about how, there's having a deeper foundation of having Christ as the center of your everything. And so he did a great job. I had my iPad out taking a couple of his notes down, because he just did a great job.
Yeah.
Stephen's a successful businessman, and he and his wife run a very successful business in Huntsville, and they're going, they're later in life. They're around my age, and they're just diving deep into missions. The thing that I'm seeing is a generational shift of, when people were businessmen my age and older, a little bit younger, the mindset was, we will make it big in business so that we can make an impact around the world. You know what I'm saying? That's great philosophy. But what I'm seeing with your generation and great young leaders and businessmen, businesswomen, is that I don't want to go to work unless I can make a difference today while I go. And I think that's huge. And it is a shift. And I don't want to feel like I'm capitalizing on someone's generosity, but that's exactly what we're doing. Those kids their lives are changing now, not when they get older, past when we could help them. They're changing now, and that's exciting to see. Our big dream is that we build this bridge where we are connecting hearts, hearts of your children who are praying for their sponsored child, even every night they can call their name out in prayer and start connecting those hearts, all the way up to what you guys are doing and making a huge splash and giving these kids in Uganda a place to live. It's just everyone can be involved. And I feel like that's the heart of ONE30 and the heart of the new age of business that I am falling in love with.
Yes. And I think going right along in with that, we got to understand that there a lot of with this crazy things going on in this world. I think people are realizing that we got to do more. We got to be able to make impacts. You mentioned about making an impact. Everybody goes to work and they want to make an impact now. And I think that as business owners, it's very vital to capitalize. It sounds like we're trying to capitalize on that generation, but the truth is, make sure that they are being part of. If you are giving to an organization, let them be part of that. Let them understand that what they do on the floor, sweeping the floor, bending metal, flipping a burger, whatever their job is, that if they do that well, it's because they do it well, we're able to make an impact. We're able to reach out further over here or over there. And, so many times, in a sense, a business will do it very in secret, which I don't like to make us, everybody know what we're doing, giving here, giving there. But let your people know so that they know that they're actually making an impact is what I'm trying to say. So,
it was, the conference was a lot of fun. And it was 100% something that I think we're going to hopefully get to do it again, and it'd be an awesome thing. I know, I'm like I told Kip the other day, he was like, I think you're asking me when do you want to go back, and I was like, man, you tell me when to be on the plane, I'm on the plane. And so that was awesome, but honestly, that was just a small part of the trip.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that there's so much going on in that country that you guys are a part of and doing, and you guys took us to several different spots. One of the places that we had a lot of fun, and we've talked about it, is the place we went to have the safari in Kasese. And yes, we had a lot of fun there, but there's some stuff that's going on there that you guys are doing that is pretty big right now. So Kip, if you want to talk about what you guys are underway in Kasese with.
Yeah, so we've been working with Kasese, like I was saying before, this little town called Kinyamaseki. It's in the Kasese region, and it borders the national park there. And it's just like you read the scriptures and you hear about the children of Israel coming into the promised land, and there, spiritually, physically, emotionally, there's no better picture that I've seen in my lifetime of a true promised land that these kids are going to experience there.
It is gorgeous. I mean, if I remember, there's kind of a lake in the background. We're on this property, and they're coming along fairly well with it. It seems like it.
So. We're into phase 2, and hopefully our goal is to get at least some of the children moved on in the end of January. And as we build phase 3, we'll be able to get more and more of the children on campus there.
And it definitely has that promised land feel to it.
Yeah.
When we're walking the grounds and stuff, because it's got, like you say, it's got Queen Elizabeth Park right there in front of it. You got the mountains behind it. I mean, to be honest, if my retirement plan might be there.
we put your house right up there, Cory.
Yeah, I mean it's great.
Well, I feel like, and I don't want to go without saying this, there is a spiritual heaviness. I don't know how deep we get in on Yoder Talk into spiritual.
Anything you want to talk about.
Things, but there's a spiritual heaviness, and whether you believe it or not, it's real there, and we were feeling that, and we were coming against so many hurdles. I talked to one of my pastor friends there. He's over several churches in that area, and I'm like, we're having such a spiritual fight for these kids. It just seems like, and there's a heaviness over these kids more than any that of our other children in other towns. And he said, yeah, exactly. He said, it's Titatumba. I said, what is that? He said, that is the demon that the people worship in this area. And he said, and they still practice today child sacrifice to this demon in one of the rivers called from the Rwenzori Mountains that flows out, and they still sacrifice children today. And he said there's a spiritual heaviness in this area, and he said, I mean, he was like very prophetic, looking over me, and he said, what we are doing here, what you are doing here for these kids is breaking this curse over their life, and it's not easy. I never signed up to for an easy discipleship. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Pastor Mike, I was right when we were coming in. He was telling us about all of that, and to be honest, like I just had like this like heaviness that just sat on me when he was telling me about that, and like I've told my wife, like it after I got back and stuff, there was I was, because when you're over there, the rest of the world kind of fades, you're focused in, my relationship with Jesus was just, it was so, I mean, how to put it into words, it was just so, it was, my focus was so on that. And so, like I told her, I was ready to climb that mountain with a water gun, like to take
go fight a devil.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. It's just truly it's a heartbreaking thing. And another challenge is it's that area is really close to the Congo.
Yeah.
And there are some really tragic things that have happened in that area. That's kind of one of the reasons Pastor Micah and yourself was telling us, I want to try to get them a little further from the Congo. Yeah,
last year we took 42 people. Most of them were child sponsors, and they got to see their sponsored children. And we had so many different projects going on, but one of our teams was actually stayed there at our orphanage, and stayed in the area. And while they were there, this was last year. While they were there was some rebels from the Congo. Just I think about 5 rebels from the Congo that came over, and we border where they are in Kinyamaseki borders the Congo, and it's just a rough, war-torn area. It's just very, very, very bad conditions. And these rebels came over and went to a school that had just Canada had just dropped off some supplies for this school, and they knew that, and they came in and killed 42 children and teachers with by hand, with knives and swords, and just devastated them, and kept 3 of the children to carry the loot, the food, the supplies that were left there for the kids back to the Congo. And it was just so real. I talk about it being a spiritual issue because we had just brought 42 people to the Congo. 42 people were killed 4.5 miles from where our team was staying. And that team was so resolute. I mean, they looked it in the face. I mean, there was helicopters they brought in, the army from Uganda to that border, and I was like, we need to pull our team out. And they said, no, we've had a meeting. We came here for these children. We're staying. And it was such a great meeting. I wasn't in that meeting, but for have an American team, who had just just seen and heard the sirens and just been that close to all that devastation, to be so resolute and care about these kids. I just, it brings out something that that few Americans, believers, get to take part in. I feel like we've made discipleship in America convenient.
Yes.
And we work around what we like to do and around our schedules. This is a team that was there. They paid to be there. They raised money. They paid to be there. They sacrificed time away from their family and were true missionaries to the field, facing death, and made a decision. We are staying. This is what God called us to do at this moment. And I just love to see dangerous discipleship. As a leader, I didn't want to take them into harm's way.
Right.
But to see that come out was amazing.
Yes.
And just a credit to these are child sponsors. These are kids these are families who just love a child and wanted to see their child, and came back with a story that very few believers get to tell.
And I will say this, for me, from my personal experience, when you go over there and you see these children and you engage with them, you play with them, they sit on your lap, you're just really, I guess you say you're hands on. Man, it does something to you within you that I can understand why somebody says, no, I'm standing my ground and I'm here.
Yeah.
Because who else is here for them?
No.
Who's going to be here for that little child that all they just want a hand up, in a sense. They just need a hand up.
Yeah.
To be able to.
That's one of the goals of ONE30 is, I've been part of Compassion International, and I was an advocate, and we were a child sponsor there. And when I held Gloria, that one 5 years ago in that little orphanage, I was like, yeah, but Compassion is not going to help Gloria. These kids are not on their radar, and so, when we started this, we wanted to keep it very personal, so that a business could not just cut a check, so that a child sponsor is not just sending $30 a month. We're tying their hearts to these children.
Yes,
and they need it. Those kids need that someone thinking about them.
And what's so amazing about all that is we were able to actually go over there, right? And now my team, we come back and we start telling our stories. They start seeing videos, and some of the team that went with us there. Now you're hearing comments. We get into a budget meeting, and I heard this the other day, and it fires me up so much. Hey, let's cut that, because if we cut that, that's a little extra that we can give when God calls us to give. Hey, there's another area that we could trim here, because, what? Let's not worry. I'm not too worried about a raise right now, because, so what it does, it changes your heart from within, but I think a lot of it is, like you said, you got to get there. You got to feel it. You got to feel it in your hands, if you want to call it that way. Yeah. And it would just change you. It changed me. I mean, I know Cory, Conrad, and there's a few times what I see is that some of them that didn't go. They have questions because they haven't felt it.
Yeah.
They have questions. What does this mean? Why are we doing this? They're all in, but they're trying to understand it just from the pictures, from what we're saying. But to actually go experience it. So I would encourage any business owner out there, if you ever get the opportunity, anybody, not just business owners, but anybody, go over there, experience it. Wherever God calls you to go. But go to a country where the people there are just surviving, and you'll find a different. God will speak to you in a different way than you've ever in your life been spoken to.
Yeah,
I think Cory said it right. It's like. And this is what I experienced too. I've been in church ministry for 30 years. In American church ministry, and when I went overseas, when I realized that this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, it brought a focus. And Cory said that earlier. It just brings you focus.
Amen.
And it brings you a clear direction. And it wasn't like I've wasted all those other years in ministry. It was like God saying, everything I've done in you, everything I've given you, everything you've been through, your experience has prepared you for this moment.
Yes.
For this moment.
Yes.
Did you
I
feel
100%.
that way?
Yes.
You know, I talk about this a lot to friends and pretty much anybody that will hear it, that, you know, what my life, if you look at my life, it looks like a hodgepodge of things. Like, okay, I did this for a little while, this for a little while, and it looks like, you know, well, it's just piecing, but, you know, nothing makes sense. But then when you back up and you look at the larger picture, no, it's just a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's a piece here that was preparing me for something else. And like, my wife's even made this comment. She's, you know, and I think this was one of the best comments she's made, or compliments, to me in our relationship. She was like, you've changed since you came back from Africa. She's like, you're not the same husband, you're not the same dad, you're not the same follower of Jesus. Yeah. She was like, you're just so focused on what can we do to make an impact in the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And that was thank you, honey, for that comment, because that was a lot, meant a lot to me. But it's something that Concepci was wonderful and awesome, but I'm gonna be honest, it was not my favorite spot. Okay, my favorite place, and where if Jesus asked me, where do you want to spend the rest of your days, it will be in Uganda. Nice. I love that place. I love those kids. I love everything about that place. There's the mountains there that are kind of surrounding it. That's one of the things that I fell in. The first thing when we were driving up to the place, I saw, I was just amazed by them immediately. And so it was kind of, you know, Pastor Micah while we were driving was saying, like, hey man, like, this is one of these places everybody loves. He's like, everybody that comes here, he's like, you're going to have a blast here and you're going to have a lot of fun. And it was kind of, other than the trade school, it was one of the first places we went to. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of took that comment as like okay. Because I was skeptical. I'm going to be honest. I can be skeptical at times. And I was like, okay. And man, was he not lying. I mean, I think the whole team fell in love with that place. Oh, yeah. And you guys can speak to that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Conrad, I'll ask you this real quick. What impact did Africa, like, I'm kind of jumping back, but all of us kind of shared a little bit about Africa. What would you say impacted you the most in Africa?
I would say the kids, all the kids in general. I agree with Cory over here. Uganda was a special place. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was about it. The kids there, like, I know there's multiple times, like, I started spending some time with the kids, and I turn around and try to find my team, and everybody's in the car. And after about a day of being there, I could see, I told myself, I was like, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that me and my wife have been passionate about our entire lives. And being able to have this opportunity, there was a few times I just had to sit there and just tell God, thank you for everything that we do have, and the impact that each and every one of them kids had on me. I didn't want to leave. Yeah. And I could see myself just being there for a longer period of time. But it was, I would say that was the kids there in Uganda. It was the faith that they had. It was incredible. There's that one little boy that I think he was talking to you, Clinton, and he said, he had faith yesterday that God would provide him with food, and he says, I will have faith today. And just seeing that faith in God and believing it will change your life. Yeah. That trip was definitely a life-changing trip.
And those kids there are most of them are from war-torn areas, refugees from the Congo and Rwanda, different places around Uganda, and they come there with nothing, absolutely nothing, and some of the happiest kids you will ever meet
you're not
in
kidding.
your entire life.
I think we have a couple clips here. Sean, you want to throw up where they're worshiping and things of that nature. I mean, when we were there watching them worship, I mean, you can just see how they're so engaged, and their love for God is unreal. And you know, that area there, we had our team kind of had a special moment happen. You know, we felt God move in our lives in supporting a certain work there in this orphanage. And so that, I would say too, this was a very special place for me as well, just because seeing how clearly God spoke to us as a team.
Yes.
Well, this is. I mean, I know you don't want to say it, but this is what happens. I mean, this school was just about to be closed by the government.
You said that we didn't know these kids. Like, I don't know the bishop or the pastor there personally or nothing of that nature. But the key to it all is, am I in tune with the Spirit? And when He asks me to move, do I move? No matter where it is. You know, so many times in life we do not understand why. We don't know why God's calling us to work here or give here or do this here. It doesn't matter. I don't have to understand. My ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. That's God saying that. We don't understand. So if God puts it on your heart to give to an organization, to an individual, whatever it is, stop trying to understand the why behind it every time, and just do what God has told you to do and obey the calling that God has on your life. And, you know, when you do it in that form, for me, it makes it a lot easier to give. Somebody mentioned it one time, said, you know, well, you give that amount of money, you can invest that back in your company. Imagine how much more money you can make on that. No, it's not about that. We are not here on this earth to own a business and fill my pocket. That's not what God has us here for. As a business, we are here and we are called to the work of the kingdom. Just because we roll metal, just because we build a storage barn, doesn't mean that we don't have a direct impact on His kingdom. And that is what I would call out to businesses today, is stop thinking it's all for you and about you, because it's not. It's about the kingdom of God. And you can make a bigger impact in your business than you ever imagined.
Yeah, you ask somebody what Paul was known for, and you know, planting churches and writing, you know, half the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, being the, you know, just a stalwart of faith, and you know, when you realize that he was a tent maker, you know what I'm saying, and he used a trade that he picked up, you know, to further the kingdom and to build the kingdom. You know, you understand that, you know, business was never meant for us. You know, it was meant for those kids.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, and business. And another thing I want to say is, some people say, "Well, God hasn't called me to the mission field, and that's why I have a business." No, God has called you directly to the mission field, and that is your business.
That's right. That's right.
That's your business.
I always used to, when I was pastoring, I used to teach, you know, the Great Commission. It says, you know, go into, and you're probably going to have to help me because my mind just went blank. Go into Samaria, Judea, Jerusalem, and all ends of the earth. And the biggest deal for me is what I used to teach is, there's several different parts of the mission field. There's your local mission field. There's your kind of your outer, your Judea, which would be like the state, your nation, and then all the rest of the world. You don't have to go to Africa to make an impact. Do what God's calling you to do.
Yes, amen. That's what I was trying to say. Yes, wherever that is.
And that could be in your backyard. That could be to your next door neighbor. That could be to someone, you know, devastated by a natural disaster in your state, or in your region, wherever that is. But the key, the Lord has called us to do something here, you know, some people I've talked to, because some of my friends outside of the organization is like, man, why would you want to go to Africa? And which I have to watch myself. I have to respond, not react to that, because I sometimes get a little.
I've seen your reactions on the golf course.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good. That's evidence that the Lord still has work to do with me. But you know, I sit there and my first reaction is, why not?
Yeah.
And then my second reaction is, you know, my response is, that's what God placed in front of me, and my job is just to say yes.
That's right.
We've been missing it. You know, as in the church, I just have a good picture. I'm not, you know, I'm not an entrepreneur. There's many things that I can't do in business, but in church work, you know, I've just been there a long time, and what I've just been praying for many years is just for my kids is a chance for a dangerous faith, you know, and a faith that stretches us and is not convenient. You know, I think about, you talked about your wife. I think about my wife. She's a retired professional. She's a speech pathologist and spent 27 years in the school system and is a homebody. Just loves home and does not like change. I'm more adventurous. She is not. And it was like, she was like, this is great. You know, you found you something that you like to do. You know, you like
almost like a hobby.
Like, yeah, that's great. You know, and give me a time alone. You know, she's more of an introvert. You know, but the first time she got over there was just you know, she felt the same thing I did. That everything she knew, everything she learned, and the person she was for this purpose. You know, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't convenient, and you know, I got to shout out to Cheryl. She's become a Yoder junkie, podcast junkie, and so she is watching for sure. But it changes who we are, and we are stretched to do something, you know, goes past what we can do, you know, and sees what God can do through us.
You know what's so crazy, you know, when God stretches you, like in a business, giving, sometimes it can stretch you financially, like, you know, coming from the business standpoint. But when you give, when God calls you to give, and you do it just out of pure faith, maybe you don't understand, maybe you're thinking, man, that money could be used somewhere else. I promise you, you're gonna be okay. God's got you. He's gonna take care of you. If you obey Him and give when He calls you to give, you ain't gonna have to worry about your business.
Well, I mean, if you think back to the decision that night we made the decision, you know, we had excuses.
Oh, absolutely.
Lined up, and I have to credit Clinton with this. You know, we all five of us are sitting in our hotel room, and to be honest, I was in tears. You know, I'm crying like a baby about, just because I'd been preparing, because Pastor Micah. That's why you don't let spiritual people be around you. They don't let you forget about the gifts and callings that God places on your life. He had made me. Well, I shouldn't say he asked that I would give a devotional the next morning, and so I was preparing for that, and just something popped out in Scripture that it was just so evident that this was the decision. And so you were leading our team, and you said, hey, listen, if God doesn't want, I want us all to go in our rooms and pray about it, and if tomorrow morning we don't wake up with a clear, evident no, this is the direction we are moving. And all of us took it very seriously. I know, at least I can speak personally, but I think the other guys did too. And we woke up in the morning with peace about it.
Yes.
Almost almost like a little confidence boost that this was what we were supposed to do. And so, I have to thank you for your leadership on that, because you can find excuses to do things, and go, oh, well, what about we need that for this or that, or a rainy day fund, and all those things are great and necessary and wonderful. And if you don't have those things, then you probably need to pray about it and get your budget in order. But when the Lord says, hey, I want you to take this amount of money and put it towards this, do it, because he's going to take care of anything that may come down the line that money could be used toward.
Absolutely.
Because
who is having these conversations? What businesses are having a meeting in the hotel room at Uganda and talking about spiritual direction of where they invest and put their profits.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The smart thing is stay at home, put your profits back into the business. Grow your business to a place where you can be financially stable enough to make a huge difference and it not affect the bottom line of your company. This is what changes companies. This is the conversations that changes families and lives that people that work with you.
When you give, shouldn't there be some kind of a sacrifice? Shouldn't you feel it a little? I mean, I feel like you should. I feel like there should be some form of. I mean, I feel like if you can give and not feel it, then you probably ain't giving enough. And I want to be careful how I say that, but I just believe that when you give, there should be a sacrifice there.
David said, "I'm not. What is a sacrifice that it doesn't cost me anything?
Right.
It's going to cost me. So I'm going to make it cost me something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many times you test God out? You know what I'm saying? How many times you outgive God or out faith Him? He does not leave you.
And
there.
it's this weekend I was at a conference and there's some words that just so popped out to me. So it said God's blessings are within His boundaries. I was like, what does that mean? God's blessings are within His boundaries. And what it revealed to me was that, don't sit and expect God's blessings on your life and in your business if you're not staying within the boundaries of His calling and listening to what He's telling you to do. Stay within them boundaries. Don't go outside of them. Just stick within them. And God's going to just take you right where you need to go. But you got to stay within them boundaries of God's will to receive them blessings. That's the way I kind of look at it. And I thought that was a great little quote from this weekend.
100%.
I feel like if you have like your purpose God-centered, then it feels more like a calling instead of you're actually giving. It's more of a calling instead of, hey, it's not like we're prophets or we're taking out our profits. It's more of a purpose and a calling in your life, and not so much as a hinder, which that's a lot of people look at it that way.
Yeah, they look at it from the other side. What will this hinder us from doing instead of saying, well, no, we've reached to the point where now we're able.
That's right.
That's
right. And when you put God right in the center of that, it's just incredible things happen.
Yeah, this is something I don't know, and I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get into the head and heart of a businessman and businesswoman. What does that? I know what it feels like in ministry, because when I gave my heart to Christ, I knew that the rest of my life I was going to be doing this professionally, whether I got paid or not. This is I was going to preach. I was going to follow Him in ministry. What does it feel like, when you find that purpose and you go wake up at 1 o'clock and roll metal? You know what I'm saying? What is it? Because I feel like it would be. I feel like it would be. I should be helping those kids. I should be there, or I should. I feel like I should be hands on. What does it feel like when you know your purpose and you're rolling metal?
Well, that's actually a packed full question. That's a great question though. But I would say, for me, there was a time about back in, I would say 2018-ish, 19-ish, where, or be prior to that, I was doing business for me. I'll admit it. I'll tell you right now, it was for me and what I would get out of it, building a legacy for my family in financial legacy and things of that nature for me and my family. Well, that can sustain you but so long. The thing of, being a believer, going through tough times throughout the business, I started looking at it different. I started saying, well, I have not found a single bit of satisfaction in building wealth. Zero. So that can't be right, because living a life for God is a fulfilling life. But I don't feel fulfilled here. So what is it? So went through a lot of teaching, a lot of biblical teaching, some very good mentors, and started to understand that, hey, just wait a second. Because I thought in my mind a couple of times after the going after finances and that nature, I was like, well, maybe I just need to go on the mission field. Maybe that's what I need to do. Just sell everything I got, go on the mission field. But then God spoke to me one night and made it so clear to me that, well, you're right where you are, but you have the wrong mindset. You are on the mission field, but you just have the wrong mindset right now. And you are exactly where you need to be. You are called to this business. You are called to running this business, not only affecting the lives of people that work within the organization, because that is a mission in itself of the people that work around you, but let your business be a playground and give it all to God and let Him decide the path. You wake up every morning. You said go bend that metal. Go bend that metal at 1 a.m. in the morning. Here's why. Not because I want to just fill my pocket, but because I'm going to take care of that customer, which is also can be witnessed to. I can help. The profits from that can now be used over here. And so, it became my playground for my calling. Going to Africa in the last September, just reassured. I told my wife when I got back, when I got off the plane from Africa, it was so clear to me, Clinton, you are right where you need to be.
Nice.
And so I would say finding that purpose, that your business is God's, and it's your playground where God has you. As long as you give it to Him, He'll direct it in the way it needs to go, and He'll He'll reveal if it's giving here, if it's doing this, doing that. He'll reveal what your business, the directions that your business will take for His kingdom and for His glory.
Yeah,
so
it's easy for me to see because I have a umbrella view of what's going on, and I see what you guys are doing and how you are blessed, and just the different style of leadership and camaraderie and ministry going on here. But I also see what's going on right now in Uganda, and they're moving dirt. They're about to build a dorm for these kids. Those kids get to see in action what is happening spiritually. It's just like, it's easy for me to see. I just don't know how it feels when you had to leave the field,
yes,
and come back to work.
Oh, I would be honest, and I think these guys would say the same. There's a side of you that just wants to stay there, but if I'm in tune to God's will for my life, it is come back here and keep chugging away, keep doing it right. Not only that, serve your customers well. That's another mission in itself. Yeah. It's just serving your customers well. The customers that come through your business, making sure that they're taken care of and be a reflection of Christ to them as well. So that is your business. It can be such a huge, massive mission in a lot of different angles, as long as you allow God to be the what do we say? The owner of our business, and we're just the managers.
How differently does the customer come to you and just hear this podcast or see the photos on your wall of the kids and the lives you're changing, knowing that when they purchase this metal building, when they come and do trade with you, they understand that what they are doing is also being part of the mission field.
Absolutely.
How rewarding is that?
Yes, it's
who doesn't
amazing.
Want to support a business like that?
Yes, it's amazing.
Go buy you a metal building.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely opened up some really cool conversations. I know in my office I've got a massive map of Uganda, and which, like, people walk in, they'll see it and they'll be like, "What's up with that?" And I'm like, "That's my second home," and and which opens up. I had a conversation with a guy that he's actually been over in I forget what country. It wasn't Uganda, or, but there was another country he'd been in, and he was like, "I've always wanted to go," and I was like, "Hey, I got some great guys you can go with." I was like, so and kind of leads me to my next thing. What in your your view of 130? What does the future look like for 130? What's your trying to finish out? What's the next big accomplishment that you guys are working towards?
Yes, so I think it's the phases and time of your life. I am definitely, you guys are kids to me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm older, and this is a weird time to start a nonprofit. That is making a lot of promises to thousands of kids. And it seems irresponsible at my age, but what we are feeling, my wife and I just want to leave something. We talk about legacy and what that looks like, and I can't, I'll never leave millions of dollars, to my children or the next generation, but this is something that we can build in a healthy way, in a responsible way, and these kids can depend on a partner and a network of churches, businesses, and families, and even kids who are sacrificing, and teenagers who mow a yard or babysit a kid so that they could send $30 and sponsor their sponsored child. And when we think about legacy, it's going to take more than church support. It's going to take more than sponsorships. It's going to take some incredible businesses, sustainable businesses who are continually making a difference, and it's just going to take all of us. Mm-hmm. And so we have an incredible board at 130 who is they're built for longevity, and sustainability, and I feel like everything that's being done is less about me and my wife. It's not built on a superstar. This is built on a network of great businesses, people, families, and churches that are going to continue on. That your generation can have a great outlet mm-hmm. for ministry and a place to go, and a kids who not only you see pictures of, but their names, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. and you know them, and they are known, and that's my biggest deal, is that this generation of Ugandan kids don't go anonymous. Mm-hmm. That we we know their names. Absolutely. And we dream over these kids.
And I can see that's the heart of 130, man. I mean, and I would actually, I'll say this right now. Any business owners, and I'm really calling out business owners. If you have the heart and would like to maybe, talk about this network a little bit, man, reach out to us on Facebook, on YouTube. And I'll gladly have a conversation. I mean, it may even to the point I'm looking to possibly next year take a few other business owners with me over there if we can work that out. So yeah, if God is speaking to you through this podcast, man, reach out. Because I'm telling you, there is a lot of work that still needs to be done. All across this world, all across this globe, man. It's great, man. I absolutely just fires me up every time I get to talk about this stuff. It just like I want to. As soon as I'm done here, I'm ready to go get it.
Yeah. I am too.
Ready to go take on the world and get our business, continue growing our business, so we can continue helping and giving and so forth. So yeah, man, I appreciate the conversations. We are time to kind of wrap this thing up a little bit. So we're going to dive now into the verse of the week. And it is found in Acts. I should have had my act together here. Just give me just a second. Oh, there it is. Acts 20, verse 35. It says, I have showed you all things, how that So laboring ye ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. You know, that goes so well with our topic today. That's why I just love that verse. You know, so it does feel good to get a gift. It really does. Let me tell you something. It feels a lot better that when God asks, when you obey the calling on your life to give, you will feel better within you than ever receiving. I promise. And I mean, that's Jesus' own words. It's better it is more blessed to give than to receive. So I love that verse. And yeah, Kip, Conrad, I just appreciate y'all spending some time with us here this morning and really speaking to our hearts, or hopefully speaking to the hearts of the listeners, and helping them understand the importance of wherever you are in this life, no matter what you're doing. If you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, it does not matter. You can make an impact. And that's now what we want to talk about, Cory, just a second. Where can people go to help? You know, like I said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And if your heart is, if you feel in your heart to give, where can people go? Kip, Cory, I'll let y'all speak on that on 130.
If you want to talk about where people can, if they want to get involved, where do they need to go?
Yeah, it's very simple. Just go to ONE30.org. That's ONE30.org. And just start the conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just we want your money. We can do a lot with the funds that you send us. You know, that's not my goal, because money comes and goes. But when I can tie a heart and I can start the conversation with someone and build relationship, you know, then our team gets better and these kids are better for it.
100%. And I was actually, last night I was scrolling through the website and seeing all the pictures of the kids and stuff. And I'm like, how many can I support? You know.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. It's not just the young children, but we have a trade school that we started there, and it does cost a little bit more to sponsor a trade school student, but we have kids that are learning tailoring there, boys and girls who are learning tailoring, and we have one girl whose dream was to be a plumber, and we have a local plumber. My son-in-law Zach is a master plumber, and he was giving and just not pointing it anywhere, and we tied him to a girl who her dream was to be a plumber in Africa, and now
she's awesome.
Now he's sending Brenda into Uganda through plumbing school. You know.
Yeah, Brenda, if you hear this, you're awesome, because we got to meet her over there. She's an amazing young lady.
Awesome. And one other thing before we leave on that trade school, one of the best things about being over there at that trade school is when they told us that, you know, they're learning all these skills not so they can just, you know, make a lot of money and kind of break the cycle, but so they can start sponsoring kids in Africa. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, this is it.
Yeah,
this is it.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll say this too: if you have questions, you know, I understand that, you know, you want questions about 130. We're here as well, man. We'll reach out to us. Some of y'all may, if you know us personally, reach out to us personally. If not, like I said, reach out to us through one of our platforms. And man, we would absolutely love to, you know, speak with y'all on behalf of 130 of, you know, what it means to us and how y'all can get involved in things of that nature as well. So, guys, I had a lot of fun. I do appreciate y'all spending some time with us, Conrad.
Absolutely,
and,
thank
Mr.
you.
Kip. So, guys, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Spotify, Facebook. You can go to any of them platforms, see our content. We're also on TikTok if you want to watch some cool clips of that nature. But, man, we have officially ticked over to 62,000 subscribers on YouTube. Unheard of, unreal. Thank you so much for your support. We love y'all. We hope you are blessed this week. And as we close out every one of our podcasts, always remember, whatever you do, have a good, God-given purpose behind it. And in any form of leadership, make sure that you lead with a purpose. We love y'all. God bless. Hey guys, thank you so much for being with us today. We are so excited to continue this season. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify.
And make sure to leave us a comment. We would love to hear your thoughts. And remember, always lead with a purpose.